up everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope that you're all doing alright. I hope you're having a good festive period, whatever it is that you're celebrating right now. Or maybe you're just having a regular day. I hope that's going well for you as well. Also, by the way, my jumper says Haw Forlorn, not just Haw. It's a Plumbella jumper. I'm going to be renovating my first ever build that I posted to my channel. It's not my first ever build that I did in The Sims 4, but it is the first one that I posted to my channel. So if you want to go watch that, I'll put it in the description, my first ever video. It's very embarrassing. It's a bit like, I don't know. I would try not to like sound cringe, but by not doing that, I sounded cringe. I think the first thing I said was, this is the most cringe thing I've ever done in my life. And it's not. I think I was just awkward and embarrassed and whatever else. But yeah, we're just jumping in at the start of the video because I wanted to just say a big thank you for all of the support over the last 2 years, whether you've been watching for like just now, this is your first time watching, or whether you've been watching 6 months ago, a year ago, whatever. However long you've been here, I just wanted to say I really appreciate you all and thanks for all the support. I actually uploaded my first video to this channel on December 25th, 2020. I think I uploaded it at like 1 o'clock in the morning or just past midnight, which is always a great time to start a YouTube channel, just midnight, December 25th. Right at the end of a very hectic year as well with the pandemic and everything. But yeah, thank you all so much for all the support. But anyway, I'm going to shut up and I'm going to let you watch it. I hope you've all had a good like festive season, happy holidays, seasons, greetings, Merry Christmas, whatever it is that you are doing around this time of year. And yeah, I'll see you in my next video. Bye. So this is my first build that I did on my channel. It's a starter house. If you've watched this video, then you'll probably be familiar with it, although if you watched it when I first released it, obviously it's like 2 years ago. But basically I stripped the interior of all the furnishing. I'll put some like pictures up on screen just as I'm like refurbishing it, renovating it, whatever you want to call it. But I was dead chuffed with this house. I actually based it off a house that Aveline did. If you're familiar with her, she does building on YouTube. She's a real talented builder. It was heavily inspired by a build that she did. At least for the shape and the exterior of the house, but it was a very like minimal version. I decided to do a base game starter house for my first video because I thought that that would be like a good introductory sort of thing for me to do. I never really built a starter house before in The Sims 4. Normally when I like first started playing, when the game first came out or shortly after it first came out, I just cheat to get money and I never really built anything. But I thought with building my own house and everything, might as well like try and do a starter house, and I think I did a pretty like crap job, to be fair. The interior looked very much like a hospital. I think I might have said that while I was building it, but yeah, it looked very much like a hospital. It had no personality, there were nothing to it, it was just bare bones, basic house. I mean, looking back on it, maybe it's a decent house, and I know for a fact that there'll be people that are like, will I build houses like that? What's up with that like? Because there always is. There's always somebody that says that they're like a really crap builder and stuff, which I'm sure you're not. If you think you're a bad builder, you're probably better than you are. But yeah, looking at that house, in comparison to stuff I do now, I definitely think I've improved. And I think, yeah, maybe starting with a base game starter house maybe wasn't the best decision, but I just thought it'd be less overwhelming and stuff. But yeah, I think I've done all right, and it's kind of weird like that I'm now doing a base game save file, which if you didn't know, I'm renovating Willow Creek. I'm about, I don't want to say halfway through because I still need to do the park and some bigger builds and then the community lots, but I'm like, I don't know, maybe a quarter, third, we'll say a third of the way through of the save file. And I'm very comfortable building base game houses now, but I definitely think when I built this house originally, I was not. So the idea of the renovation, I thought I want to keep the same sort of like feel of the build, but then like change it and build a base game house how I would nowadays, rather than something kind of like, it was kind of intended to be modern, but I don't think I really pulled off that modern look. So I decided to go with like a basic shape, decided to do one of those little dormer things on the roof. Took me quite a while to settle on a colour scheme. Also, don't mind my sim self, just stood outside, just stood still. And I was going to do it like a starter home, but better. So like maybe the sim that lives here, I mean, in this case it's my sim self, but the sim that lives here, maybe they bought it as a starter house and renovated it themselves. Maybe they've earned like 10 grand or something and they're just going to renovate it a little bit. But I ended up getting carried away and renovating the whole thing, and I didn't really think about the budget. I think the final cost of it was about 60,000 simoleons, so it's definitely not a starter house, but it is base game. So if you do want to download it, it's fully base game. Didn't use any packs or like that. It's fully functional, and it's a cute little like starter house. It's not a starter house. So if your sim wants to live here and they've got money, maybe they could live here like a single sim. I also think it would kind of suit a elderly sim, a grandma or a granddad or a grandparent. But yeah, I quite liked how it turned out. And I did this time think, do you know what, I'm going to do a back garden, because I didn't really have like the budget for that last time. I didn't really have the space for it, so I didn't have a back garden. I just had this like conservatory thing that had like next to nothing in it. I think I put in an easel, some random like, oh my god, I had these signs on the wall, you know, like what you have on toilets, like the male and female sign. I had them on the wall for some reason. I should really go back and watch that video and like figure out, maybe I talk about it in the voiceover, because if you didn't know, I've always done voiceovers on my channel. It's something that I always wanted to do to like start off with. I personally prefer watching speed builds with voiceovers. I mean, I know everybody's different and some people are probably not even that bothered, but that's just my personal preference, so I wanted to have voiceovers. But obviously it's very nerve-wracking to do like your first voiceover. I mean, now I'm pretty much like comfortable with it. I feel like I can just talk about whatever and just sort of like, I don't know, talk about whatever I want, and I don't feel like this big pressure or like I don't feel embarrassed or anything. But that first one that I ever did, and the first few, to be fair, it was definitely a struggle to like get past that initial, like sometimes I'd sit there for like 10 minutes and I would just sit and stare at the screen, and I would record like 4 minutes of silence, because I thought if I just press record on the like recording of the audio, then maybe I'll just start. And I used to like write notes and stuff about what I wanted to talk about, so looking back on some of my older videos, it sounds like I'm reading from a script. And in some cases, like I would have wrote down a script, and then, not a script, but like a set of notes, and then filled out those notes a little bit to kind of get to the point of what we're talking about, which is why like my videos nowadays are a bit more rambly. If you've ever noticed like a shift in the way that I talk about things, this is just how I speak and how I, you know, get going when I get talking, get chatting away and whatever, which I prefer. I prefer like the more realistic side to my personality, where I just talk a lot of crap and kind of go off track, get distracted, rather than like set to a certain script, I guess, or not a script but like notes. But yeah, the main problem with that is often I end up rambling about stuff and forget what I was wanting to talk about, and then right before the screenshots roll around, I'm like, oh yeah, by the way, this is what I did with the build. But I'd love to know, like, do you prefer people in voiceovers? Do you prefer them to talk about the build or talk about like random stuff that's going on in your life? Like, what's your personal preference? For me, I'm easy. I don't really care what people talk about. I do quite like other people that like ramble a little bit and talk about things unrelated to the build, but then every now and again, if they're building something, I kind of look at it and I think, oh, how did they do that? And I would appreciate them to be like, oh, this is how I did it. So yeah, that's just my preference. I'm easy either way, but I'd be interested to know obviously what my audience thinks, because if you want me to talk about the build, then I'll try and do a bit of both. But yeah, the floor plan of the house, I didn't really know like what to do with this. I didn't know what sort of shape I wanted. Obviously it's quite a small house, so I don't know, I was a bit like stuck, and then I was kind of stuck on the interior and like what I wanted to do. But I did a bit of planning off camera like I normally do, and I kind of figured, do you know what, we're making this house for me, for my sin self. It's my renovation, it's my first build. I'm just gonna build it like a base game dream house, like a tiny house. Well, it's not a tiny house, but just a base game small house that I would like to play in. So I basically just decorated it in styles that I like that we've got in the base game. I am definitely more of a modern sort of builder, or appreciator of modern stuff. I don't build modern all that often, just because I'm worried that if I do it too much I'll get sick of it. But I really do enjoy like modern builds and looking at them and just that sort of stuff. Especially like mid-century modern. Like I'm like leaning into that a little bit, and like Scandi stuff lately. But yeah, I didn't really know what I wanted to do with it, but then when I did a bit of planning, like I said off camera, I kind of figured, do you know what, we're going to go with my favourite sort of swatches of what you might call it, pieces of furniture that I like. And yeah, I had to go with a sort of pale green, sage green for the bedroom because that's my favourite colour. I thought, why not? I did use a fair amount of green throughout the build. I think there's a bit of a theme of that. I think the only room that it's not in is the bathroom. And I did do the bathroom on camera as well, just with it being a smaller house. But yeah, I really like how the bedroom turned out. It's quite small, but it's like a decent size in my opinion. And I just like the look of it. I thought it looked cute. And I used that base game wallpaper, no, the base game flooring that we didn't have when I built this. And we've also got swatches of stuff that we didn't have when I initially built this house, or when I built the original. Oh my god. Also, I used gallery art from the gallery, obviously, and the person's like changed their name on the gallery. I could have sworn they were called Michi, but their actual handle on the gallery is MNU1103, I think. No, MNUI1103. And I'm sure they used to be called Michi, or maybe that's somebody else. But either way, if you want to download their NoCC gallery art, you can do. I'll put their thing on screen and probably in the description as well. But I always use the same person for gallery art, and I thought that the pictures that I use, those like green ones, looked really cute. And then we've got like a simple porch, entryway, whatever. I would have loved to add pets to this build. I felt like I really wanted a dog and a cat. But obviously we don't have cats and dogs because it's just base game. So if you do have cats and dogs and you want to download this build, put a cat and dog in for me please, if you don't mind. No, it's up to you, but I did sort of envision that a dog and a cat would be living here with my sin self as well. And then yeah, the bathroom, pretty basic. I just went with some like light wood swatches, and I think I ended up changing the flooring a bit later on, so it's basically the same flooring throughout, that base game wood like timber looking flooring. And yeah, it's just a basic bathroom. I kind of would have liked to add a shower, like a shower bath combination thing. I just hate the look of that base game. Well, we've got two base game bath shower combination thingies, and they're both ugly in my opinion, so I didn't want to use them. I mean, that one that's got flowers on it, it's alright for like certain builds, but I just don't like the look of that like plain one. There's just something about it, I don't like it. Yeah, it's not for me. But anyway, moving on to the kitchen. I wanted to go with the industrial counters in the light wood swatch. It's my favourite counter in the game, well, in the base game, and my favourite colour of those counters. I really love like light woods and that sort of industrial look with the grey metal and stuff. I just think it looks really cute. And initially I think I was going to try and have a green kitchen. Like when I was planning it, I would try, no, it was blue. I was using the base game, you know, that first counter, like the cheapest one. It was like a bluey grey colour that I was going for, but I just didn't like the look of it. So yeah, I settled on this industrial. Yeah, it is industrial, isn't it, with the wood and the metal cabinets and all that sort of thing. And yeah, I just really like it. And I really love the like end pieces of this counter, you know, like with the pans on the side and everything. And yeah, I decided to do it like a kitchen diner sort of thing, just because of the shape of the house. I quite like the floor plan of this house. I think it kind of makes sense. The only thing I kind of wish I'd have done was have the bathroom closer to the bedroom, but it just didn't really work out that way. I think what I ought to have done is think of the floor plan before I renovated the outside, and then I could have had it work out a bit better. But I think it still looks alright. And it doesn't really matter where the bathroom is in the house. It's just, I feel like the further away from like the bathroom sink, oh my god, I feel like if the kitchen is far away from the bathroom sink, which in this case it's like next door to it, they're less likely to wash the dishes in the bathroom sink. But we all know, if you've played Sims 4 for any amount of time, the bathroom sink could be like over the road outside, 24 grid spaces away, and Sims will walk all that way to wash the dishes in the bathroom sink as opposed to the kitchen one. So I don't think it really makes a difference, but in my mind it does. And also, I won't like to run across my kitchen after getting in bath to run to my bedroom to get dressed. No, I'd rather walk like from the bathroom straight to the bedroom, but that's just me. But yeah, used some seating things, some dining chairs and a dining table that I don't think I ever really use, if ever I've used them before. And I thought, why not just have like a bit of a change. It's currently Christmas Day as I'm recording this, 25th of December, and I am considering this video my channel anniversary video. I think I want to try and make it a habit to, or not a habit, a tradition to post on Christmas Day as my, I don't know, I guess like my wrap up of the year sort of channel anniversary sort of thing. I actually started my channel in February of 2020, and my intention was, I think I was going to get a computer or a laptop for my birthday and then start like a Sims channel from that. But obviously something else happened in March of 2020 that kind of put that on hold, and yeah, I ended up not doing that. I know loads of people started channels in like the beginning of the pandemic and everything in 2020. I was not in the headspace to be starting anything. I could barely start and get out of bed on the morning, so yeah, it didn't really work out, but we got there in the end. And I've talked about that before. I think I talked about it in the original like video of this build as well. But yeah, what was I on about? Oh, I can't remember now. I had like a point that I was gonna make, but I forgot. I got like sidetracked. Whatever, it probably weren't important. But yeah, I really like how the kitchen turned out. Quite like the layout of it and everything, and just in general the way that it looks. I think it's like a decent layout. I find sometimes with open plan sort of spaces where it's like kitchen and dining room in one, I kind of struggle to fill like every little corner, but I tried not to do that in this build, and I just sort of focused on making it look nice but also not too cluttered, and hopefully I did that. I think that's what I was going to say. I'm recording this video voiceover on the 25th of December, and but why did I bring that up? For God's sake. Also, if it's your first time watching this, I am autistic and I have ADHD, so sometimes things go a bit off plot, so don't worry about it if I get a bit distracted. I likely will never come back to that original point, but feel free to comment somewhere if you really wanted to know what I was going to say, and I'll try my best to remember, but I think I've lost it now. But yeah, oh my god, it's so annoying. I think maybe I was going to say that I'm like tired or something, because that's the only thing I can think of, but I don't think it was that. I'm going to move on and not do your editing, trying to remember what I was talking about. Anyway, this is obviously the living room, and again, I really like the layout of this one. Living room, sometimes I really struggle with the layout of them, like where to put the settees and everything. In my mind, your furniture should kind of point towards either a fireplace or a TV. Don't really know where I've got that rule from in life, but that's just kind of makes sense in my head. And sometimes where I place fireplaces or TVs, it kind of makes it awkward with the settee. And it's just one of those things that I feel personally that I struggle with. But again, I really like the layout of this one. Put a basic sort of chest table in, bookshelf, put more artwork in from the gallery. And I guess speaking of it being the end of 2020, which I didn't really talk about that, but it is, if you didn't know. Surprise, it's the end of 2020. No, it's not. Oh my god, it's end of 2022. It feels like it should be end of 2020. 2020 feels like it was 2 days ago. But yeah, speaking of the end of 2022, I'm not sure if I'll have time to do another video before the end of the year. So if this is my last video of the year, this is my last video. I don't really want to set anything in mind, because my brain right now is like, get this video done, go lay down, and don't get back up again until you have to take your kids to school after Christmas break. Unfortunately, that's not how life works, and I will have to get up off the settee at some point. But I'm just very like tired and I think a bit burnt out. I do enjoy Christmas, but I find it very overwhelming because it's a lot of change and you're doing a lot of different things at once. There's loads of new stuff in your house. I am very much a person, when I get a bit overwhelmed, I just want to throw my entire possessions away, and obviously you can't really do that, but I just get a bit like, oh my god, there's too much stuff. There's loads of pots because we had Christmas dinner, obviously. There's loads of like rubbish, cardboard boxes. There's just like stuff, and things have changed. Even though I like the changes, I get a bit like, oh, I don't like it. But yeah, I think I just want to lay down and chill and just sort of have the, last part of the year off. Also, I'm going to be busy like visiting family and stuff, so I don't know where I'm going to fit in the time to record. So if I don't post like a full speed build, then you know why. I'm going to try to, but if not, I will try and do a couple shorts, because there's a couple of little builds that I want to do, like little room builds, so I might try and post a couple of them. And then I'll quickly talk about the garden before the video ends. So just a basic garden really, there's not much space, but I just put in the basics, put in an easel because that's what the original house had, and some planter boxes, although they're not boxes, are they like tubs? What would they be? Plant pots, whatever. And then obviously a grill, a little dining area sort of thing, sun lounges, and then we didn't used to have the, what's it called, telescope, and now we've got one, so I had to put that one in. And then you'll be able to see my sim sort of living in the house, having a good time, making coffee, painting, all the rest of it in the screenshots. So thank you all so much for watching. Stick around if you want to watch the screenshots, and if you want to download this build, my ID on the gallery is HutchPlays. Thank you all so much for watching, and thank you for all the support over the last couple of years. I feel like I've said that about 20 times in the intro, but why not say it a 21st time? I hope that you're all having a good festive period, whatever it is that you're up to, and if I don't see you before the new year, Happy New Year, and yeah, see you later. Love yous all. Bye.